In the last few months, a lot of companies listed with much enthusiasm their IPOs on the market exchanges. Investors had a plethora to choose from, but not all performed well. When the markets do well, usually more and more IPOs line up. For eager and first-time direct equity investors, IPOs often come across as an appealing option. But like all other investment tools, this one too comes with its own set of risks or watch-outs and of course advantages. To shed light on the same and help you navigate the process of investing in IPOs, we bring in two financial experts in this video. Let's start right from the basics. An IPO, also known as an initial public offer, is a frequently used tool by which companies raise funds from the market. It's a way of listing a stock too. Joseph Gapchiwala, Director, Ventura Securities, decodes the term further for us.
So it's when the very first time a company wants to be listed on the stock exchange, then it comes out with an IPO. So then the shares are available for trading in the stock market. Now one good thing is that IPOs are fairly well regulated by SEBI. So there is a complete mechanism which they are required to follow, and only once they follow a mechanism are they allowed to list their shares on the stock exchange. So in a nutshell, again, it is that IPO is nothing but shares which are going to be made available for trade to the general public. So the owner will also be parting some shares of his and allow the public to participate in the investment and the fortunes of that company.
Harsha Chetanwala, co-founder mywealthgrowth.com, also shares his expertise.
What happens in an IPO is basically a company which is at a stage where they want to grow. Okay. They will start raising money from the common man. Okay. And they want the common man to also invest into them so that they also offer equal growth opportunity for the investors. Now, the idea behind IPO, the founder and the management would be keen to dilute their shareholding, okay, and keep that to a minimum level, but at the same time at a maximum price.
So what should your starting point for this investment path be? What do you keep in mind before you take the plunge? Here's your checklist of factors to keep in mind.
People don't have that much information available, nor do they have the time to read information which is there, because there is now your overload of information. So my belief is that specifically when we talk about retail investors, they should just get a hang of it from most of the places, that whether the IPO is reasonably priced, it is expensive. A person should fairly read about the company in terms of what he's going to be investing. Also, the market sentiment is also very, very important. So the general market sentiment, if it is going to be very bearish, then even if it's a good IPO, it may have a very, very subdued listing. But when the market is extremely bullish and everything is buoyant, markets are rising. At that point of time, the environment is good even for the IPO stocks to be listed at a premium. The market sentiment also plays a very big role in terms of specifically for the retail participation. I mean, if a person is applying as an HNI, then maybe he will have a longer term view, then he will have to get into more analytics.
Now, until recently, the markets were buoyant and many companies flooded in to raise equity through their initial public offerings or IPOs. So does this mean that normally there is a direct correlation between bullish markets and the number of IPOs on offer?
I think around in the end of March, mid-March, we had at least 4 to 5 IPOs running simultaneously. Okay, so it was basically on the back of a fantastic bull run which we have had. But suddenly, when the second wave has start hitting us out here and markets started correcting, so we also found that most of these stocks also had a below issue price listing. Okay, some of them do recover after that, but it becomes a challenge. So a good market also tends to result in a higher number of IPOs. So people are then more keen to come out with their issues, because then they're expected to get oversubscribed.
Now, some companies may be riskier than others. Performance cycles, business models of companies are key things investors must check before investing. So, how important is it to review and evaluate the company and its credit rating? Here's what investors need to look for when evaluating a company.
The first thing to keep in mind is, okay, how much that I'm investing for, and how long do I have to wait? It's a valuation. When you're buying into a company, and then when you say the company is going to start their operations, or they're already into a stage where they are doing very well, and they're going to use the money which they have, which they are going to get in the IPO, okay, to diversify or to expand their business. In any business, whenever you participate, the business is going to take some time. So one is always look at it, what is the valuation at which we are going and buying or investing into that company. Okay. So because most of the time we have seen that valuation risk will always be there in IPO, and that is something that investors need to have a constant look at. Okay. Ratings are fine. I understand that there are many rating agencies, they do rate as per their criteria. Okay. But as an investor, the most important thing that I need to look forward to whenever I'm investing into any company, okay, is the prospect of that company. Okay, how much time I should be holding that company, because it's equities. You have to hold it for a long time. Okay. Until and unless a lot of people think that IPO is just for listing gains. IPO is not for listing gains. Okay. IPO is for long term. You're investing into a company where you have to give more time than a listed company.
Since investing in IPOs means taking direct equity exposure, naturally, all risks associated with equities apply here as well. But are there any additional risks for investors to watch out for? Let's hear it.
One is mainly with out here, it's because it's like more like a lottery, right? So you may get allotment, you may not get allotment. So it is not that you are assured that if you will apply for it, you are going to get an allotment. So only as compared to direct equity, there's a little bit difference in the IPO, is that the price discovery happens for the very first time. Okay. So you are, if you have read fairly about it, and if you have seen that similar IPOs, this is at a discount to their other companies in the same space, then you have a little bit of a cushion. Okay, but obviously most of the direct equity, whatever you are doing, the same applies out here in the IPO itself also.
A comparison between IPOs and other equity products such as mutual funds, PMS, paints this picture.
When it comes to other products like PMS or direct equities or equity-oriented mutual funds, the investments will be more focused on existing listed companies. Now, the advantage that these companies have, or the investors have when they go for it, is they also know what is the track record of the company. Even the fund managers and the PMS managers, they know what is the track record of the company. Okay. There's a very limited, when you compare with IPO, there is a limited information about the companies, okay, when it comes to IPO stage. And over the period of time, of course, there's more information. Okay. The listed companies offer, okay, and once it is listed, okay, and once it starts getting more into market capitalization keeps on moving, okay, there are multiple opportunities to enter and exit into a particular company. So IPO is more sort of a getting into an unknown horizon.
It is then safe to say that asymmetry of information is probably the biggest risk in IPOs. Information about the company becomes available only over a period of time.